Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brand Lab, a podcast by PrettyGirlsWork. I'm your host, Lindsay Tompkins, and I go by the pronouns she and her. I've spent almost a decade building my brand to a six-figure business, and I want to show you how to do the same. There's tips and strategies you'll learn along the way, but remember, the real magic is you. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday. It's Friday. I actually love that these come out on Fridays. At first it was like, should we do them beginning of the week, middle of the week? But I like it. I like Fridays because then you get to think, do some planning over the weekend if you want to. And even if you don't, like, just let it ruminate. Like, think about these things, let them come up. And then Monday you can like re-listen in the morning for that second time to like really get it. And then you can start implementing it that week. So happy Friday. I am tired. Oh my fucking God, I am tired. I started back dance this week. I also own a dance program as one of my businesses. And woo, my body is sore. It is so sore. I feel like I am hungover right now. But alas, here I am showing up. So today's episode probably going to be a short one. Why? Because I'm probably going to have to edit out a bunch of yawns because that's where I'm at today. And that's okay. This is a good one though. So today we're going to be talking about incorporating the 5 senses into your brand and into your business. So when I say the 5 senses, I mean sound, touch, smell, taste, and sight. So all those different things and how we incorporate that into our brand to make it even more impactful and even more meaningful for our followers and our customers. And so I love doing this actually in every aspect of my life, like not even when it just comes to I'm actually working on a new brand for myself and my social media training and branding business that I'm really excited about. And I'm going to kind of actually even bring you guys through that journey on here, which I think that's like honestly fucking perfect because, you know, like learn in real time with me on what I'm doing to reestablish my brand after I left an umbrella company a year ago. And, but yeah, so this is one of the things that I've sat down to like really pinpoint for myself and what that's going to look like as I gear up to launching my new brand. So like I said, I also do this in every area of my life. I really love to create feminine containers for myself, especially in the day. So if you're not familiar with that, what I mean is, you know, the idea of feminine and masculine energy and how we incorporate both of them throughout our day to have balance. So a lot of us are in our masculine most of the day. It's like that, you know, get stuff done energy. It's like that productivity. It's that hustle. You wake up and you have so much to do, especially those of you listening that are parents. You are, you know, taking care of other people all day long and trying to get stuff done and chores and make this one lunch and drop this one off at school and work your business. And if you have another job, so you're a lot of like in a results driven behavior the entire day, but it's also really important to balance that throughout your day with just pleasure, things that you do simply because they feel good for you, because you enjoy them, they bring you joy. And yeah, so what I like to do is days that especially that I know that I have a lot of masculine things that I have to do that day, I'm going to kind of be in that zone and in that sort of state. I like to create, you know, a feminine container for that. So what I mean by that is, how can I set up my space to induce like this idea of like pleasure and enjoyment, and I'm getting stuff done. And so that is incorporating the 5 senses. That is like, if you're going to sit down this weekend, for example, to work on something in your business, but you also want to enjoy the weekend, then grab your favorite candle, you know, wear your favorite outfit in like fabric that feels so good on your skin. I want you to have a drink that you love in your favorite mug. I want you to make sure that you set your, you know, maybe clean up your desk, clean up your home office area, go outside, go to a coffee shop, like go somewhere where it's your favorite place. So you have that touch, sight, smell, what you're hearing. Maybe you're playing some music. Maybe you are, you have a essential oil diffuser going and you love the sound of that, whatever it is that feels good for you. And so it's incorporating all of those things into that moment so that you can feel more balanced because you are results driven, but you're also paying attention to the present moment. And we can actually take these 5 senses and we can also incorporate them into our brand. Now, I actually interviewed, her name's Danielle Barrich. I interviewed her on my other podcast, the Very Vulnerable Podcast, which is on a hiatus right now, but the episodes are still all there. So you guys can definitely go check those out. She talks about her move to Paris and we talk about incorporating the 5 senses into your life because, she talks about she's really into French culture and how some of the best French brands, these are like some of the, Chanel and all these different, brands that are super iconic and have like lasted and, like the test of time. It's because they really incorporate the 5 senses into what they do. And so I'm going to teach you a little bit more about that today. So what are some reasons that you should incorporate the sort of sensory experience into your brand? Well, number 1, it makes people trust you. Because people are able to experience your brand. And when you have that consistency and those 5 senses that you're pulling across multiple platforms, people can keep showing up and they know it's always going to be the same thing. They know what to expect of you. If you're someone who's like constantly changing your aesthetic, you're constantly changing up what you talk about and what are some of your favorite things. Like I know we all go through sort of a phase of like trying to test things out. I have too. But what happens is that people start showing up on different platforms of yours or to your website or to your Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever. And when things don't look and feel the same each and every time, they don't know who you are. And we really build that know, like, and trust by being vulnerable but being consistent, by showing people consistently what our brand looks and feels like. Because we talked about this before in another episode, that your brand is how you make people feel. It's how do they experience you and your business. And so it's really important to make sure that you are consistently showing up across your platforms and how you talk and how your brand really looks and feels. And it's going to make you stand out. When you go that extra level, like incorporating these 5 senses, and we're going to kind of break them down and go over some examples. But when you do this, it's going to make your business stand out from others. Like for example, I'm a business coach. Do you know how many business coaches are out there in this world? Social media trainers? 1 million. But what is going to make me different? What is my course, my Facebook group, my community, my podcast? Like, what is this going to make people feel? Okay, those are really, really important things to think about, because when people do have those emotional ties, they're more likely to do business with you. So a great example of this for a brand who really incorporates the 5 senses into their business is the Westin. So if you're familiar with the Westin, it's a chain of hotels and they do this amazingly. So what they do is, doesn't matter what Westin you go into, you are met with a white tea smell. That is their signature scent. Okay, you walk in, the doors open, and you can smell right away that it's a Westin. They have their heavenly beds and their linens and their pillows. They are all the exact same brand. So it doesn't matter what Westin you show up to, you're going to get the same quality sleep. It's going to smell the same. They use the same products. They use, like the same soap. They have the same food. It all looks the same. And so they've taken all of those 5 senses. And so it's this idea of they want you to feel like you're always coming home. At the Westin, you're always coming home. And what happens is you build trust. You're not afraid. Doesn't matter if you're in Toronto, Ontario, or Vancouver, British Columbia, or wherever else in the world that there's a Westin, okay, I can book this because I know exactly what to expect, because the experience is always going to be the same. Franchises are amazing at this, and they have to incorporate all those different things because, it needs to feel the same. My dance business actually used to be a franchise, and we had like strict things to adhere to so that it didn't matter if somebody from the US, from Hawaii, came to one of my classes at my business, it should feel the exact same or, pretty closely the same as what they were experiencing in Hawaii. So this is a really great way, like I said, to build that trust, build consistency for yourself. And we know that people do connect more with brands who do incorporate these experiences. And when you have that sort of like sensory marketing, it can really like make people engage more in actually like buying patterns. So not just about how they feel, but like they're actually buying. So, one great example of sensory marketing is Hershey's Kisses. So they wrap it in tinfoil so that when you open it, like, what tinfoil feels, the sound of it. Even, I think it was Rice Krispies, like they went into like the lab for so long just to get that specific crunch, or even like phones vibrating. It's like a sensory experience so that like, oh, I have to check my phone, and you're always like engaging with these different products. Interestingly enough, I just did like a Google search earlier trying to find some other examples to share with you guys. And one that was super, super cool was in South Korea. And Dunkin' Donuts, what they did was on a commuter bus, they would actually, this is crazy, they would release the scent of coffee into the bus after their jingle was played on the bus. And then once the jingle was done, so it was all timed. So the jingle was done, then they'd release the coffee scent, and then the bus would stop at the next stop that had a Dunkin' Donuts there. And they saw an increase in sales for 29% increase, which is crazy. And so that was like really, really interesting that like, yeah, you can create this experience and use senses to also trigger buying patterns, because it invokes things like memory or wants and desires and needs. And so it's like, what would your ideal client, what type of situation would they want to be in? What are the different senses and the different experiences that they want to have? Which ones are going to already trigger experiences they've had in the past that were positive for them? And how can you incorporate that into your business? So when you look at that, you want to really look at your brand and its characteristics and say, like, how can I convey these things through different sensory cues? So let's kind of break them down right now and just walk through a few different examples. And I really encourage you guys to use this as an exercise to sit down and work through, like, how can I incorporate this into my brand? How can, like, when somebody goes to my website, goes to my social media page, they can just picture themselves like in my social media. Like for me, what I'm doing is, and I've always kind of done this on my personal Instagram, at least people who follow me there know, is that I love Palm Springs. I absolutely love Palm Springs. And so I have done like little things where people expect that of me. I've done like little virtual retreats. I was planning to do a actual physical retreat to Palm Springs, but obviously, COVID. And I don't want to travel during COVID, but I use certain colors. I started buying certain things, like the way that I dress. Like I was always dressing like I was about to go on vacation to Palm Springs. I've been painting my home bright colors. So I'm really like incorporating all these different things. Like I literally only now buy like coconut body lotions and like different like fruity scents that make me feel like I'm on vacation. And I really try to incorporate that into my branding. And so this new brand that I'm about to launch with my community is going to be like that. It's going to be all kind of built around a vacation. So like my tagline is, take a vacation from working in your business to work on your business. And it's about taking that time. And I want everyone to feel like that they're on this like luxurious retreat in Palm Springs with their like favorite cocktail or drink in their hand. It's, the sun is shining. It's like warm. We're sitting by a pool. We're wearing bright colors, like all these really fun things. We're having tacos and, that whole experience every single time you're going to show up, whether you're on my email list or whether you're on or in my Facebook group or on my website or in my courses. I want it to feel like you are in the middle of a vacation, and I'm not going to sway from that brand. So let's look at the first one. We can look at smell. So smell is a really, really powerful tool. Okay. Even that new car smell, we all know what that is like. And it's actually like not just how the car smells. That smell's pumped into cars in factories. And so they do that on purpose so that it triggers that like, oh, this is new. This is like exciting. This has status, that this is a new car, not a used car, not my old car that I've been driving. And so they use these different things to really continue the experience, that even when you leave the dealership, you're still experiencing the sense that this is a new car. You're not just like, oh, well, whatever, I'm already over this. It can also evoke memories, as I mentioned. So for me, like I mentioned with the Palm Springs, like really pulling all of that in and looking at, okay, so for me, how can I convey smell to my audience? Now, if you have a product, say you smell like, No, sell. Say you sell. I mean, you would smell it too, but say you sell something like candles or essential oils, then yes, like smell is inherently built into your brand. But are you using that? Are you talking about the scents? Are you just giving like, oh, and this candle, is like a warm cinnamon whatever and great for the fall? Like, no, you need to go deeper than that. Like, what does this smell like? What is this going to remind you of? What is this taking you back to in your memories? That's a really positive memory and just something that you want to relive again. Maybe it's like reminding you of being like a young child and baking apple pies with your grandma at Thanksgiving. Like, that's sort of the stuff you want to pull into that. So say you're not selling like a physical product that's related to smell. How can you bring that in? Well, if you have like a retail store, or you are a gym or a dance studio or whatever that is, if you have like a brick and mortar physical space, then pick a signature scent. Pick a signature scent for your store or your establishment. Don't just like randomly grab like whatever's on sale at Walmart to like burn in or to put in like a diffuser or whatever. Pick one scent and think about the experience. Say, for example, you have a gym or like a yoga studio or a dance studio. Then you want to think like, what is going to be calming? What is going to like make people feel like, oh, I feel so good and like refreshed after this, versus if you had something like a clothing store, or you had something like a restaurant. Then a restaurant, you're not going to want competing smells. You're going to want the food to have that sort of smell. So you want to think like, what is this going to smell like? If I walk into a barbecue place and it doesn't smell like barbecue, then there's something wrong there. I don't like automatically trust that. So that is one way if you have a physical space. But if you don't have a physical space, it's incorporating this into how you talk on your social media, into products that you recommend. Maybe you could put on so say for example mine, because I'm on an Instagram break right now, but when I launched this on Instagram, this new project, I could have a highlight where it's like our favorite products, and I could put candles in there that are like coconut flavored or peach flavored, or whatever it is that I decide to go with. Is like, these are our favorite things, and like this is our favorite scents. That means that I could get those things and use them in giveaways. If I was ever to do a retreat in person or an event, I could put that sort of scent in gift bags. So you can get really, really creative with that. And even for yourself, even if it's not something that necessarily is like really speaking through to your audience, then, create that space for yourself at home. But the more your audience feels all these different senses, and when they just like see your page, they're like, oh, I could just smell the beach being there. Maybe, your ideal thing is at the beach, or I can just smell like what this campfire smells like. Then the more they're going to be attached to your brand, because it's invoking all these different memories and emotional ties for them. All right, so the second one we have is sound. How can we incorporate sound into our brand? Actually, brands with music that fit their brand are 96% more likely to prompt memory recall. So this is like very, very much like smell. So what you can do is, like, for example, say you have a business that you are going after millennial moms. Does not matter what your business is or your product is. You could do TikToks or Reels that use 90s and early 2000s hip hop music, for example, or pop music, or whatever that is. Maybe you loved like Blink-182 and Sum 41 and Good Charlotte and all that sort of stuff. But it's going, okay, what were they like listening? Not necessarily now, but what were we listening before? What's going to evoke memories? What's going to make them be like, oh my God, I forgot about this song. And like just feel super, super tied to you. They're going to see you as more relatable. And so if that's who you're wanting to reach out to, and this is why, like, even with our customer avatar, like really looking at like, who are they? Who are they really? What have they lived? In the last episode, we did building out your customer avatar, and we talked about what do they do in a day. But another stage that you could go to bring this even further is, what life did they used to live? Right? Like, what's happened to them, like, since they were little up until now? What are the experiences that they've had? What decade did they grow up in? Like, what music were they listening to? This is all really important, especially with TikTok and Instagram Reels and all the different things that you should be doing with Instagram Reels if you're wanting to grow there right now. The music and the sound you choose is so important. I have one of my clients actually, and she did 2 different videos. She's actually done a few that have done really well, but one of her videos went completely viral on Instagram, 2.5 million views, and then another one has like 300 and something thousand views. And in that one, she just played like 90s and early 2000s hip hop music in the car and said mom's jamming or pre-gaming or whatever before the grocery store. Because, you know, we don't go out anymore. We're like kind of past that age. We're not like getting ready and listening to this music to go to the bars like when we were 19. So thinking about all those different things. If you are, I talked about this before about like if you are, for example, like a cleaning person or you sell, you know, a cleaning product or whatever that is, making playlists that people can clean to. But if you're wanting to reach millennial moms, then make throwback playlists, make TikToks where you're cleaning and you have that music going. If you are a fitness instructor, if you are a dance instructor, think about who's my target audience, how old are they, and what kind of throwback songs can I use for TikToks and Reels. It's not going to be some of these newer songs. Like I even taught a class last night and it's a song that I got off TikTok and it's a really fun one, but only 2 people in the entire class even knew what song it was because they're all like in their 30s and they're like, I don't really go on TikTok all that much, so I don't know what this song is. But they get more amped up when I really use throwback. So when I'm marketing the program, especially utilizing those sort of song choices, I did a 90s show last year and that was like my highest like selling program. We had 87 people register at $285 in the first few days. Okay, so that was huge. That was like a $20-something thousand just launch in just a few days. And then sadly COVID happened, but because they were excited for the 90s music, it was nostalgic to them. They were more connected to it than like, you know, whatever popular music was happening today, even though they enjoy it. So think about those things. Think about who is my customer and how can I incorporate sound into this and into this experience. If you do webinars, for example, then always open your webinar with music. Have like a slide up and have music playing through Zoom so that they know like, oh, this is their brand, like this is fun. Or if you're something that's like softer or whatever, then play, you know, some like folk music. Pull out some Taylor Swift of her folklore or her Evermore or whatever they're all called. All right, the next one to think about is taste. So obviously, if you are a food product or a restaurant or whatever, this is very, very easy for you because this is going to be the basis of what you're doing. But again, the same sort of thing that I said with people who sell like candles or essential oils or anything like that is that you can't just like describe what it is. Like don't talk about like the description or the ingredients. Talk about like the memory. Talk about when you would use this, what kind of situation. How is this scent or how is this taste or this food or this drink going to make you feel? If you don't have anything to do like related with food or beverage or cookware or anything like that, like for me, for example, as a coach and as a trainer, I don't have any ties to food. But what you can do is have like recipes, share cocktails. If you have an event or a party that you're doing or whatever, what do you serve that aligns with your brand? Like it makes people want to come and book it just to experience that. So say, for example, those of you, especially that are network marketers, and especially those of you that utilize home events or parties and things like that, how are you making your party incorporate the 5 senses? How are you making your event, you know, what is it going to sound like? What is it going to taste like? What is it going to smell like? What are they going to see and what are they going to feel? How can you incorporate all of those so that it's not just like come and learn about my product, but you could book like a whole millennial moms type of party. And it's like, this is what it feels like. We play like fun music. We have like throwbacks. Maybe you do giveaways for like butterfly clips and I don't know, just really fun stuff and let yourself get really, really creative with it. And then when people know that your events are like that and it's so closely tied to your brand and what they see online, the more likely they are to book with you. So many of you that are in business, when you're trying to get like clients or customers, or especially customers to come to experiences or classes or parties, whatever, is that it's just you like showing up, and that's great. Like, yes, you need to show up and they need to get to know you, but your page looks like a personal page and they're like, I don't know, like, why would I even want to have an event with you? Like, what's in it for me? You're just going to show me these products. I could just look at these online. You need to create an experience for them, something that they want to go to, something that they're like, oh my God, this is so fun. It's not just about having fun with friends. And I think that that's something that like a lot of people are like, oh, like, just having fun with your friends. Well, if they want to have fun with their friends, guess what? They're not inviting you over. So really make sure that you are incorporating other things like taste into that experience. All right, the next one is touch. So if you have physical products, this is really going to play into that as well, of like, obviously they can touch them, but also using different fabrics in your branding, different textures in your graphics. Think about what you wear, what colors that you wear, what fabrics that you wear. Like I said, using different textures, just even in your graphics, maybe you add glitter to most of your page, or you use like soft silks in your page, or you use velvets if you have more of like a jewel tone aesthetic, or if you are like a cottage sort of like lifestyle brand, then you're going to use like plaid, or like organic cotton, or things like that, like wool. You want to think about like what makes sense. If I was to create an experience in person, what would I incorporate to really get my message across? And then how can I do that on Instagram so that when people come, they can feel like, oh, I can just picture myself grabbing that blanket to wrap around me and sit by the fire while I listen to you lead us through a meditation. Or you're a financial coach, and this is what's going to make me feel like maybe you're like in a suit, or maybe you're in something like a little bit more laid back, something really fun, and like a flirty outfit with like jewelry. And it's like, do you know what? Yeah, I should get control of my finances because I want to be a bad bitch like you. It's not about like being super, super professional, because maybe the clients you're going after aren't people who sit in business suits. Maybe they are like entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small businesses. And it's like, okay, what do they look like? How can I incorporate this into how I dress so that I seem really relatable to them? So that is touch. And then sight. I mean, 83% of information people retain is received visually. And sight and how we incorporate our brand, this is more about like our color aesthetics, the way, the fonts that we use, the way that our graphics look, like having some sort of, cohesive theme and look. I don't think you have to be super crazy with your aesthetic at all. I'm actually going to do an episode about the brand book that I'm building. And once it's actually done, I'm going to link it for you guys so you guys can go check out my brand book for free. And then you can use it to kind of build your own. Well, maybe it's for free. Maybe I'll charge for it. I don't know. We'll see. Send me a message and let me know. But yeah, like I want you guys to see what that all kind of like looks like. And in there, it's, giving ideas of like how to build out those colors. And it's all based on this like 70s vintage retro Palm Springs feel. Like that's how I want people to feel. And so the colors like all play into that. I'm not going to use like a bright fuchsia pink because that doesn't align with like the 70s sort of like boho vibe. It's like more of those like dustier sort of pinks and yellows and like ochres and things like that really make you feel like, oh, this is like, yeah, this retro by the pool, Palm Springs, in my retro vintage car, like super, super cool, on vacation from my life, working on building my dream business. And so that's like what I want really people to focus on. A really great example of this, actually incorporating your brand into something like sight, and which would even kind of be even maybe touch you could think of, is actually Santa Claus. So Santa Claus originally had a green suit, but then when Coca-Cola, I love saying the name Coca-Cola. It's a good name. Anyways, Coca-Cola, they made Santa's suit red because they wanted it to match their branding. So when they started using Santa in their Christmas ads for their product, they made him have a red suit so that it went with their branding. And then the brand was so strong, and that visual was so strong, and it was so consistent that we started seeing Santa in only red. And now he's only ever in red. You don't ever see him in green. And that's literally because of branding. It's the same thing of like, if I say Dove, and I've used these examples before, I think maybe in the first episode, but when you say Dove, when you say Tim Hortons, when you say Starbucks, McDonald's, like you can picture Target, you can picture what it smells like, what it tastes like, and not even just like, not all of those are even food related, like Dove, like, it makes me think of this, like what the soap smells like. It is clean, it is jeans and white tops, it's like everything is fresh. I feel like the windows would be open. You could feel the breeze. It's like a spring day. That's what it feels like. And that's going to make people more connected to the products. And so really looking at, like your brand colors, how your pages look. Are you consistent across all platforms? Like if somebody goes to your Facebook page and then they end up on your Instagram, are they going to know right away, oh, I'm at the right place just because of the way that it looks. And then plus the benefits of that are when people are in your stories and they're scrolling their newsfeed, when they see those colors that you're always using, those textures, those, that music, that 90s music, when it pops up, they're like, oh, is it that person? Because this is who they are. So I want you to sit down this weekend and I want you to think about that. I want you to think about this for your brand. I want you to think about this for your business, but I also want you to look at your life and what brings you joy. Palm Springs brings me joy. And so I really try to incorporate that. I just redid my bathroom, painted the vanity bright orange. It's beautiful. Got this peach shower curtain, painted the whole bathroom white. And then because it's a peach shower curtain, I have peach hand soap. I have a peach candle and a peach air spray in there that's the exact same scent as the candle and the soap, because when somebody comes into my bathroom and they're like, oh my God, it's so bright and fun in here, and oh, look at this peach shower curtain, so beautiful. When they go to the bathroom and then they go to wash their hands, I want them to be in the experience of it. And I want that for myself. It's not even for somebody else, because really, who's coming over during COVID? Nobody. But it's for me. I deserve to live my best life. I deserve to always use my favorite cup, my favorite scent, my favorite clothes, and have my favorite foods. That's the life that I want to live. And when you are hustling, when you're trying to build something, when you have a lot on the go, you're tired because you don't have balance. It's not even necessarily you need more rest, which you do need rest, but you also need more balance. You need more pleasure. You need more enjoyment, and use those 5 senses just to bring that into your own life. And it'll make you really connect with your brand. It can be really hard to sit down and do content when you don't know who you're talking to and you don't feel like you're even at your own business. So light that candle. Think about, what is my scent, even just to get you in the mood of working. What is my scent? What is my taste? What is my smell? Smell and scent are the same. Touch, sight, and what am I hearing? Incorporate all of those into it for yourself to help you get in the zone, enjoy your business, feel like you're on that vacation, that you're, at your own little space, even if you're just at home. So let me know how this resonated with you guys. Let me know if you liked it. You guys can find me on Facebook at The Brand Lab with Lindsay Tompkins, though we are going to be changing that to what my new brand is. But I wanted to change it to that for now, but you can just go to facebook.com/groups/Lindsay Tompkins and I will be there. See you guys on the next episode.